yourselves and we can get this started.
Let's do it.
For everybody that is watching, I am Lexi from Heat Transfer Warehouse. I am the marketing manager here. And yeah, this is our first webinar that we've done at Heat Transfer Warehouse. So we are going to try our best. We've got the chat turned on. So if you click the little chat button at the bottom, that's where you can go ahead and type any of your questions that you might have throughout. And then I will kind of read them to RJ and Patrick throughout. And then we're going to have a couple little breaks where we are going to give them a chance to answer any questions and interact with you guys directly. So that being said, over to RJ and Patrick.
Awesome. Thanks, Lexi. How's it going? My name is RJ with ISW. I've been in this industry since 2016, so almost 8 years, maybe going on 9 years. Background extensive in white toner, but sold screen printing, direct-to-garment, sublimation, vinyl. So I'm kind of well-rounded and excited to really compare, white toner and DTF. I feel like at all the trade shows I go to, everyone has been asking for this. So excited to showcase this one.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me. I'm Patrick Nord, or Nordia is the surname. I'm from Africa, I guess. That's why I wear this African continent on my arm. And I've been in the print industry, I guess, since 1996, before white toner was invented. So I feel pretty ancient, like a fossil, like a dinosaur. And I've just loved it and learned the various garment decorations or decorating printer methods out there. So I've got a lot of knowledge that I'd love to share with the users that are interested in purchasing machinery. And it's really to give a good technical and fair evaluation on the latest trending equipment out there. Yeah. So thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And so in this webinar, we want to kind of try to answer all the questions that we both hear on a daily basis from consumers. Definitely what the biggest differences are, what are the similarities, strengths and weaknesses, and then showcasing you how they both work. And then, maybe some of the other things that we can decorate outside of shirts. So before we get started, we're going to be comparing a Crio 8432 with one of Heat Transfer Warehouse's Premier A4 machines. Let's go over the strengths of both. So strengths of white toner, and then he'll go over the strengths of DTF. So the strengths of white toner are going to be no maintenance for one. So it is they're both short to medium run solutions. What I mean by short to medium run solutions is 1 to 50. That is our sweet spot. We want someone to order 15 t-shirts with 15 different colors, something that a local screen printer might want to do, or they won't want to do. Someone that does vinyl might not be able to do with so many different colors. So that is really the sweet spot of both technologies, is short to medium run solutions, full color designs. That's where they both fit. And so with the Crio, it's a no maintenance machine, which means I could print 100 sheets today, turn it off and turn it on next year, and it's going to be just fine. It's really one of the only technologies that you could actually turn the printer off without any maintenance cycles. Outside of that, we could decorate any fabric, any material, any color. So it could be cotton, polyester, light, dark material, as well as hard surface goods. So we are not limited to garments. I'm talking about wood, metal, acrylic, ceramic. It's truly a business in the box aspect of, as long as it can fit in a heat press, we can decorate it. But definitely the on-demand customization, then we'll definitely show you here shortly how easy it is to use. And then I'll let you go over some strengths of DTF.
Okay, you're done?
I'm done.
Sounds like you want to just carry on for the rest of the show. All right, so this is Pat's show now. We've had the RJ show. For the DTF, like we said, we're going to showcase the one from Heat Transfer Warehouse. It's an A4 wide printer. It prints on a roll. My findings on that is really tricky. Like if you want to verse with the Crio, you can feed 20, 30, 40, 50 sheets in your MP tray, and that will just churn out. What I did find with this one on the roll is as soon as you want to do a job of like 10 prints, you don't really have the opportunity to cut each sheet off being on a roll because you'll have a head strike. So a head strike means that the paper lifted up and it then touched on the head, and that could be a problem. You might have to replace the head. So I found that really tricky. I found the speed on the printer really, really slow. Like you can do a couple of shirts on the white toner versus on the DTF, it's still printing. So we'll showcase that today. Yeah, so those are a few things. Maintenance for me is a bit of a pain. You have to have the printer on. It has a little motor inside that'll circulate or churn the white ink, because the white ink contains titanium dioxide, which is quite interesting. I was reading something the other day that titanium dioxide could become a hazardous good, that they won't allow you to ship it around. So that we don't know what's happening. It's still to come. Is the DTF powder safe once you're putting it in the oven? There's something to consider. Yeah, so pretty much that will circulate the ink. So that becomes messy. It becomes a problem. You got to clean your printer every day, and having the printer on all the time. Like if you want to go on a vacation for a week or two, what do? You kind of got to have somebody. It's like having a dog or a cat. Someone's got to come and feed the printer every day and give it a clean. So those are a few areas that for me were a problem, because I like an easy business. Hey, I get a job, I print it, I sell it, and I make my profit. So
Yep. No, that was great. And then, obviously those were some struggles that we've had. Some positives with it is that the transfer is awesome. The transfer comes out very nice on that DTF printer. It's, as far as stretching goes, if you put the two comparisons for a stretch test, DTF is going to beat white toner there. As far as if I have to grip it and rip it, the DTF will have more elasticity than a traditional white toner print. And then the second biggest difference between the two is going to be cost per print. So with a Crio machine, it's going to be about double the cost of what that A4 machine is going to be per print. So what I mean by that is that on the first design we're about to do, his full cost per print is going to be right around $1. Mine's going to be right around $2.10. So ours is going to be a higher cost. You will see that we're going to overcome that a little bit with the speed factor. And then lastly is cost to get into this. So a Crio 8432 is $7,995. I do have a special announcement at the end of this. And this bundle with the printer, the oven, and all the consumables in it, I believe is right around $4,000.
yeah,
I think Heat Transfer White House may be running a special on it. I will let Lexi talk to that. But yeah, so it's going to be about double the cost of entry to get in if you are looking at either one of these. So we all know that budget's a big difference and has a big deal with it.
I wanted to touch on, so with the bundles you'll get on the DTF, it's a good thing to get the bundle and the ink from that supplier. Like Lexi would give you a bundle with the ink that's been qualified in the printer. With a Crio, it comes with all the toners inside it and the drums. So you don't have to purchase that. So there's enough profit for you for free that you make up front, because you don't have to buy that outright. Okay, so I want to just add that that's something important. And it's always good to stick to the supplier who has the inks for that brand.
Yep. Cool. So we are going to actually start. We want to show you how easy both are to decorate a light garment. And while we're doing that, because we're going to be kind of working here, Lexi, if there are questions, I say we start rattling those off and we will answer them as we're doing the first demonstration. So like I said, the first one we're going to do, I think do you have to run any kind of checks?
So before we started the webinar, what I did was I had to take out my cleaning kit, and I pretty much performed a clean on the inside. So the maintenance that I would perform in the morning, I would come in, the printer will turn itself off, but on the back end of the printer on inside, the motor still circulates. So there's a power still driving through there. So in case of a power failure or something, it's still doing the most important critical job of churning that ink. But it's very important for you to clear the lines and check the lines are working in the morning and clean the areas where the ink spills, because this is a liquid process. This is a dry process. It's pretty much toner powder, and this is ink. So if you take ink and you pour it out on your mom's carpet or on the floor, you got a problem. If that was toner powder falling on the floor, you could suck it up with a vacuum. So my maintenance in the morning, I really much have to clear everything out, and then I do a head check. a nozzle check, and then I do a print test. So we're all good.
Okay, so we're ready to print.
Yeah, let me just plug it in.
Okay. Once he's plugged in, we'll go ahead. So Lexi, I think if there's some questions, we can get into that.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, so I have a couple ones. They're kind of generic.
Sweet.
Oh, sorry. I took these, actually a majority of them, from our customer service team that we've gotten from customers chatting in, or even just sales team, you know, Mark, some kind of FAQs. So the first one is, which one lasts longer? The magic question.
Are you talking about print wash, like a wash test?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna do that at the end. I have 2 shirts that have been through the wash about 35 times. They have one of each, so they have white toner and they have DTF on them. So we'll answer that at the end. So you're gonna have to stick around.
So what are you printing now, RJ?
So we both just hit print. So the Crio, the first print, takes about 20 seconds for the printer to basically run its gears, and then it prints. And so now I'm ready to press. And this is Magic Touch T1 paper, 1-step media.
So while he's heading out to the heat press there, he'll lay out his shirt and everything, get it ready. I believe you're already at a preset temperature, so that's all good. You don't have to wait for that. I now have to wait, I guess it's close to 5 minutes for this to print. We printed at the same time. He's already going to be finished with making a shirt, and I'm probably like half an inch into the print, maybe an inch. So these are one of the things that I was mentioning earlier, is about the speed between the two machines.
So 1-step self-weeding, self-cutting paper. Basically, with under a minute, you know, with the Crio, you could print, press, and decorate a light colored garment. And then we will be getting into the steps of decorating a dark garment as well.
All right, we do have a couple of questions in the chat. The first one comes from Darnell. She said, so the white toner would be similar to a sawgrass, and the DTF is like a converted sublimation printer, question mark?
I mean, I would say both of those are like sawgrass, right? Because that's an ink system, and with a sawgrass, that's a sublimation ink, right? Which cannot go on a dark garment.
I think she's comparing how they're manufactured. So I would say yes and no. If you think of the two, most DTF printers are converted in some sort. Now, like the DTF station, I believe that this is manufactured as a DTF printer. I don't think this was purchased and then flipped. We'd have to do some research on that. But I guess I want to clarify how you were asking that, because you asked if one was a manufactured sublimation printer, and then the other one was converted. I do believe this one is manufactured as white toner. I do believe this printer is manufactured as a DTF printer.
Yeah, so
white toner like a sawgrass, and then is DTF like a converted sublimation printer? So they're just asking if it's like.
I would say no. So they're both manufactured as machines. If that answers your question, if it doesn't, if you could reword it for us.
So my take on that is the Crio is manufactured as a white printer. So there's no modifications. We sell it in the Americas. It comes out of Japan, and it's manufactured as a Crio printer. And then it can do light, dark garments and all the other hard surfaces. DTF technology, all the big guys are starting to do DTF, like Epson and all that, right? That's the big machinery, which is not the space we're in. This is the small footprint that we're in. And I'm going to go ahead and say that most of these, the guys, be it in China, wherever, they buy hundreds of these printers, and they buy them from Epson or wherever, and they convert them.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and say that's where I think your question is. These are converted Epsons or whatever machinery, and then they brand them as something else.
Yep. You know, and I just want to kind of go over, so when you are comparing these two technologies and you're decorating a light garment, we've run a test, and it's about 8 times faster to do a white toner system over a desktop DTF, because this will print especially A4 size. Now, this isn't an A3 size printer, so I could be printing a bunch of 11 by 17 designs. This will print roughly 20 to 30 sheets per minute, where this one printer might print 1 per 5 minutes, like Pat was saying. So when you are looking at production, the Crio or a white toner system will have higher production than a desktop DTF printer.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Is there another question? And
Yeah.
also, I'm done. I don't know if you guys want to see the shirt. It is pretty.
Yeah, and to me, the colors on the one step on this paper are also great. They're vibrant,
Right.
and there's a good stretchability on this paper.
Yeah, and great feel to it as well. I would say that's a question that if someone was asking,
Yes.
the feels are very close, especially when they're washed. I wish you guys could all feel the shirts that I brought that are washed. But they're both really, really soft. So I think where DTF and white toner struggle, this is actually pretty much any printing technology, is if you're printing a big block, that's when it's going to have that feel to it. So anytime you could have a free form design or a maybe a negative space, throw a distress logo on something to break it up, for both technologies is going to really help you out.
All right, we got a couple other questions. The first one is, what is the setup process like when you first get the printer?
Which machine? I guess we can go over both.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead. Well, I'm nearly done here, but I've got a little bit more to go. So with the DTF printer, it's quite, I'd say, painful. It takes long. It took me almost a day, and I don't want to say that I'm like, what's that, Windows for Dummies, printer techie guy or whatever. I kind of feel I know quite a bit. I found it took a lot of work to get me to starting to print. Now, if you know a lot about printers, that's okay. But if you're a new user who's like, hey, I've got $6,000, I'm going to buy the printer and start printing to make T-shirts, to me, that's tough.
Yep.
This is a better option because of everything. It's so much easier to use.
Now, what did the process look like? Did you get a printer, the ink separate?
Yeah, so the inks will come in 1 liter bottles. You get your powder that comes with it, and you get all the cleaning stuff. So you get the isopropyl alcohol, you get some other cleaning liquid that you use every day. You get your dampers, and you get your line. So everything you've got to, it's all dry. And then what you have to do is you add the ink on the side, and you fill them one by one.
Okay.
So the company that, Lexi sells this, and there's obviously documentation to show you step by step how to do it. So it's not a case of you buying it and they're going to leave you out dry. There is documentation to do it, but I still found it easier to start a print on this machine, the Crio, versus this, because here you just plug out the toner, peel it off, start printing. There's 4 of them. Here you have to fill them to a certain level. Then you have to take your syringe, and you got to suck your dampers, which I'll show you, which are these little things, and they contain the ink there's a line that goes into the ink tank, right? So you have to suck that till it's full, and then you plug it into the head, and then you start doing your head cleans and your head tests so that there's no more air bubbles and that in there. So it does take a bit of time.
Did it come with a print head in it, or did you have to install the print head?
It came with it. No, this one didn't. You install the print head.
Okay.
It looks like that. It'll come in a box like that. I'm on my 2nd print head. I should be on like my 5th. I don't know. Maybe somebody is watching over me like an angel, but I've had so many head strikes in the past 2 weeks. And the heads really, they're about $390 for a head. And they kind of look like this.
Okay, so you have to install the print head.
You install your print head, and then you prime the lines, take out the air bubbles, make sure it's all flowing in there.
Yeah, he said a lot of stuff that it went over my head. With the Crio, you just get a box and there's a QR code. You scan it. You take the printer out, and like Pat says, what you do is you just pop open the front. You pop open the front, pop the printer open, you put the toners in, you close it, and then you just plug it in and turn it on. So it's we try to take the guessing game out of printing or its setup for you. And like I said, it's a QR code that comes on the box.
So what I'm about to do now, do I need my mic?
Yep.
I'm about to put the powder on the back of the skull, and then I'm going to bake it for a minute.
All right.
So what he's saying, in terms that helps me understand a lot of the stuff. With the one-step paper on the Crio, it already has glue on it, so, or adhesive. So I print and press, and I don't have to do anything. You'll see me have to do an extra step for the dark shirt. Now with any DTF print, it comes out wet, and you have to add the glue. And so it is a powdered adhesive for his glue. So like you saw him go in there, you got to dunk it and make sure the powder goes over everywhere the ink is. And then you got to flick it off. And now he's got to cure it for a minute. And then you're right around what, 290 degrees? 290. So you got to print, powder, and then cure it.
So what I'm looking for, once it's powdered and cured, that powder will go into the ink and the film, and it becomes like a, I want to say wax, but it's like a stretchy glue, a white residue, a white layer at the back, which, like RJ said, is already in that one paper.
If you're comparing the two systems, I think by this time I would be pressing probably my 8th, 9th, or 10th shirt.
You're bragging.
Yeah. I mean, I wish me and him were competing.
At shirt making shirts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not at baseball.
No. That's right.
All right, we got a couple
that-
more. They said the difference in the size of the printouts against the comparable to the cost of the printers. There wasn't really a question mark in there, so I'm not sure how to answer that or if they were just stating it. But they do have another question that says, does the rasterizing in the program help the solid prints from being stiff?
Correct. Yep. Yeah, there's a couple tools in there, you know, either it's holes, lines. I think they even have some distress things that you could throw on there. But yeah, that's all in the RIP software.
So remember I spoke about, I literally, before we started, I printed and I checked the heads and they were clear. So this was the top of the image here. And my test showed me, hey, it worked. But when it started printing, it prints the white last. It didn't print white in the beginning and then it started. So these are little issues that happen. So you cannot really use that if you want to get a good printout. But for us, for a demonstration, we just want to showcase the speed in it. So I don't know if I move this about, you could see almost looks like the glue has that shine to it. So this is ready now. If I rub the back, it won't come off. If you rub it when it's just printed, it is an actual ink, so it will smudge and wipe out, so you cannot do anything with it. So should I go ahead and press this?
Sure. Now,
All right.
DTF pressing time. Go ahead, Lexi.
Oh, we just had one more question. That's all.
Sure.
Ashley said, the white toner stays in the Crio with the other cartridges, unlike the Uninet where you can swap it out, correct? Also, is the Crio compatible with Mac?
For the first question, Crio, because we're manufactured as a white toner printer, white comes in it, but you can always take the white out for the black for that swappability. And then, unfortunately, no RIP software company is compatible with Mac. Crio, we have a print driver that will print to a Mac. So if you don't want to print through the RIP software, you could print directly to your Mac with our driver. That answers your question. But unfortunately, like the RIP software we give you, and you know, I think 99.9% of the RIPs on the market aren't compatible with Mac. Mac likes to really control what they do, and they try to do their own little monopoly deal.
Yeah, so while this has to now cool down, it's a cold peel, kind of like the next film that we'll touch on for the white toner. So when it comes to a Mac, what my experience there is, users and designers, they love using the Mac, which is great. They could still have the Mac. They just need to have the laptop to run the RIP software, which is kind of like your driving engine, and it says, hey, this port is printing to that machine, and it sends the data over. So how do they do that? They do their designs on their Mac. They can save it to the cloud or a thumb drive, and then they bring it to the laptop and they import it. So they still can use their Mac.
Right. Oh, yeah. Mac, you can use your Mac for everything, just not printing.
Correct. So we should be nearly good, yeah?
Sweet. I don't know what happened to my shirt.
Sold it.
Oh, there it is. There you go. As far as quality goes, I really haven't found too much difference in the two. Especially when we get to the wash test, you will see that there's really not too much difference. Cool. So those are the white shirts. With Crio, you're looking at, if we put it to an hour with the Crio 8432, let's just say you're decorating white t-shirts, you're looking right around 60 to 70 shirts an hour. With the DTF, you've got about what, 8 to 10 minutes in for one print. So maybe let's just say 10.
Yeah.
10 shirts an hour.
I would say it's fair. Maybe if you get 12, you get 12. But bottleneck comes here when you print. You got to cut it, then you got to cure it, etc. So it takes a bit of time. So let's go with 10.
Okay, cool. We've been answering questions as we do it, so I think we just keep the flow of things. Let's do a black t-shirt. And obviously, the reason why you're buying one of these two technologies is for the white. The reason why the white is important is you can decorate the dark substrates. You know, sublimation, some of that other stuff, that's CMYK, you cannot do that. So, you know, we always get the answer, is this DTF? And so with the Crio, we have been printing onto film for a very long time. So technically, you could say, yes, the Crio is a powderless DTF printer. So we do print on film. That's what we'll be showcasing. And we call this, so with the DTF, it's going to be the exact same process. If you want to go on a white shirt or a black shirt, any color shirt, you're going to have to do the print, the curing, the powdering, and then the pressing. For the Crio, for the light shirts, when I mean light, I mean white, gray, pink, yellow, you know, the lighter colors. It's print and press. And then anything dark is what we call a two-step process, where instead of powdering the adhesive, we have a sheeted adhesive, which the paper comes in 100 sheets of each. So you have the printable film, and then this is an adhesive sheet. So you will see during the process, but this is my glue that will apply or stick to the toner. So I guess whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
When you want to go ahead, all right. So I'm going to race you now. Give me a head start.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So because for the example of an A4 device, I just did 2 up. So I was able to put 2 designs on one.
So did you rotate them and then put them on there, and was it easy to do?
Yeah, and the RIP software is very easy to do. You load your image, you get a lot of these cool stuff, or a lot of these cool kind of like gadgets, and I just hit rotate 90 degrees so it fit, and once it prints, I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about here. So I was able to load in a large file, but print 2 up on a sheet. It's very easy to do. Now what I have to do is add my glue. So this is what we call a marrying process. This is 300 degrees for 90 seconds.
Now, is that a hard process to do or to master?
So I would say with white toner, this is your learning curve right here. And this is where a good heat press comes in. So, you know, I would say a downfall of white toner is that you're not going to make it work with like $100 Amazon heat press.
I agree.
And we always recommend a nice American-made swing-away heat press. And it's all for this reason. If I have a bad press and I have, let's just say, inconsistent pressure, inconsistent temperature, I might miss glue somewhere on my sheet. And that's why with white toner, especially, you know, the people selling it, it will be your best friend to make a little additional investment in a nice heat press to make your life a lot easier. And that's all for this process right here. It's the same thing for the one-step process. If my heat, my temperature, or my pressure are not even, when I'm peeling that thing off, it's not going to stick. You know, maybe it doesn't stick on the top or the bottom. So nice American-made press where I can guarantee you my temperature is equal and my pressure is equal all throughout that press. So this is the marrying process right here. It's a hot peel. You lift the corner and you peel the 2 sheets apart. So now, let's see if I can catch the light. All my glue just stuck to the toner. Basically like he did over there with that powdered adhesive. It's only going to stick to where it's been printed.
So is it fair to say that your heat press simulates my oven, right?
What you just saw there, 100%. Instead of me having to deal with the powder stuff, it's just sheeted. And all of this stuff is, what are the right words I'm looking for? They can go into schools and hospitals. They have all of the
it's
100%.
Like, because there's no powder or fumes that we don't know what are like floating around. So if you have it in your classroom and you're teaching kids how to make a business and sell T-shirts and garments and hard surface items, this is a better option.
Yep. And now you might be wondering what I'm doing. So my glue sheet, well, one, I have two images, so I'm just cutting them apart. My glue sheet's a little bit smaller, bigger than my A sheet, so sometimes it leaves a little residue. And so I was just trimming the edges. But now, cotton T-shirt, and I'm sure you were thinking it, my heat press was set 390 seconds, if I didn't say that already. Now I'm going to leave the press at 300 degrees because I'm going on cotton. The cool thing, and we will show you an example, the cool thing about white toner and this film specifically is that it's a low temp paper. What that means is it'll stick, the glue will stick at 200 degrees. So I can go, we don't have one here, I can go onto a Mylar balloon if I wanted to. I can go on the very heat sensitive stuff. We actually have a red polyester shirt. We'll show you the difference of the two. You do get some dye migration. There we go.
Hey, happy Mother's Day.
So, yeah, happy Mother's Day. Thank you. Oh, Valentine's. Perfect. Even better. But yeah, super cool is that the film will stick. Now, that's only a 30-second press. Press it a little long. But this is going to be a cold peel. So I'll just set this aside. And then I'll press my next shirt.
So
All
while
right.
you're doing your second shirt, I'm going to come ahead. I'm going to feed this out, and then I'm going to cut it, and then I'll powder and bake it. So you carry on.
Okay, I'm gonna ask, we got feedback from one of the questions earlier regarding if you could touch base on just the difference in the sizes of printouts against the comparable, or the size of the printouts comparable to the cost of the printers. So I'm gonna use like girl math, for example. Like
Perfect. I can relate.
I have to make and sell how many T-shirts in order for my printer to pay for itself.
Oh, ROI.
Yes.
Good. Okay. I would say the average ROI, to put it in perspective, is 3 to 6 months, but that's on a customer to customer basis. When we give you the printer, you get about 1,000 prints right off the bat. Of those 1,000 prints, let's just say you made 1,000 shirts. Well, and let's just say you make $10 a T-shirt. So with the amount of toner that we give you of 1,000 prints, that's $10,000. The printer is about $7,000. So how fast are you doing that? Well, let's just say on average, $10 a shirt you make. So you would have to sell 700 shirts. If that makes sense. Same thing with this one. So if this system's $4,000, 400 shirts to pay that off. I guess that's just talking about shirts. With Crio, we have profit guides because, if you're not doing shirts, maybe you're doing mugs or woods or keychains or temporary tattoos or stickers. There's a lot of ways to make some income. But I guess to put it in comparable to T-shirts, about 400 shirts, 700 shirts.
Something that's interesting, let me put this down here. The oven has like a fan on it, and a lot of them have an extraction that'll go out of the ceiling, I guess. And you can smell the odor that comes from here, which is really the powder turning into glue. And that's the process that still worries me until there's proven fact that it's okay. So same like when RJ married his AB, on mine I've got a line there and a line there. That's just what the printer does. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that, and then I'll put that on a black shirt.
And now, I don't think I've talked about this. So with both technologies, it's always great for that washability and durability to do a post press. we recommend, and honestly, it works great with DTF too. It's called a T-seal sheet. What this is, it's a rubber silicone coated sheet that's reusable up to 500 times. But this is going to embed either the toner or the ink inside the fabric of your shirt. So you're going to get more stretchability, washability, and durability with it. So we're sharing a heat press. So I'm done with my shirt. I'll let you go ahead.
I'll swing around now. And let's see, there was another black shirt. There we go.
So it's really kind of pick and choose where your bottlenecking is. With DTF, it's the printing. With the black shirt, with white toner, it's the 90-second press. So there's definitely, if we were just going back and forth, I could probably do about 3-to-1 on a dark shirt compared to a DTF print, if you do want to compare the two technologies. But there is a bottleneck in both. Trust me, I wish I could press onto a black t-shirt all day long. That would be amazing, but right now that technology does not exist. Have any other questions popped up?
Not yet, but I've got some from the customer service team.
Sweet.
That they have received. What are the resources in regards to troubleshooting?
Okay, let's
It's a loaded
go over that.
question.
Now, I can just speak on behalf of Crio.
Yeah, and then I'll just speak on what my experience is. I'm sure that you would have your tech team take care of a few things. I don't know when it comes to DTF, but what I've seen with the manuals and that I'll discuss.
Okay. So with Crio is I think the whole kind of brand was created about end user success. So we did a good job of putting together a lot of this stuff for the end user to be successful. So every Crio ships with RIP software. We give you a remote support tablet, which is like a little iPad that you can use for your one-on-one training, for your RIP software training, or your application training. So it's right here, and you're going to be working on your computer right here. But we have, when you buy a Crio, you get access to something called mycrio.com, and that is our support website. On there, you're going to be able to sign up. So for the RIP training, we do it every Tuesday. It's live, 10 a.m. Central and 3 p.m. Central. So we want to take the printing game or the printing issues out of the way, and we train you how to do it every Tuesday. If for whatever reason you can't make it, we do have a pre-recorded session on my Crio as well. Maybe it's a Saturday or a Sunday and you want to revisit that, you can see it there. And then every Wednesday, we have what we call application training. So maybe one day we show you how to do a Mylar balloon, or one day we want to do a black shirt or a mug. You know, we're trying to give you ideas on how to do this stuff step by step. So that is every Wednesday at noon. And let's just say I purchased a printer from Heat Transfer Warehouse. If you have an issue, you go ahead and call them. If they can't fix it, they send you to us, and then we take it over from there. So you have multiple levels of support, especially with the Crio.
Yeah, I think from the Crio, from what I've also experienced and seen, they've got that, let's call it a database on the Crio side of so much valuable information that only Crio users can get. And for me, if I take a step back, it's like, okay, if I'm going to buy your Crio, how do I pay it off? So they've already asked that.
Yep.
And then how much money can I make with various things? So, I mean, the Crio gives you all that, how much the profitability is and how soon you pay it off.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh, I only need to make 20 shirts a month to pay for this finance, right? So that's how my brain thinks, but I've veered a bit there. So I guess for me, what I noticed is you get a PDF that'll come with a printer. And if you scan the QR code, it'll take you to certain videos and that. And it's quite informative, like how to install the head and how to clean this and how to do that. So yes, they do give you information. When it comes to live support or tickets or tech support, I'm not too certain what is offered, and that would be where you buy it from. So that's another thing. As a user, before you make the purchase, look at who you're buying from and what do they offer when it comes to support. That's important in my eyes.
And maybe, Lexi, I don't know if you can speak a little bit more on how this is supported post-purchase. Or if you don't know, maybe you guys can just get back with that customer. We don't want to give you wrong information.
Yeah.
So we have a direct Slack channel, if any of you know what that is, but it's just kind of a software that we use that we have directly with DTF Station. So when a customer reaches out regarding an issue with a DTF Station printer, we will then not necessarily transfer them, but convey that message directly through Slack, and then DTF responds back. So it's pretty seamless most of the time. Obviously, outside business hours is a little bit different. But also we have our sales gentleman, Mark, is very well trained in the DTF Station world. And then also Zach is another DTF guru here at Heat Transfer Warehouse. And then our customer service team as well can answer some of those kind of general troubleshooting questions that you may have.
Sounds good.
Sweet. So support on both products. Like Pat said, support's huge, especially if you run into an issue. You just want to make sure whatever you're investing in is that you can get up and back and working quickly. Now, I do want to go over the Crio comes with a 2-year on-site warranty. So let's just say, hey, I got an error code 143 and it's a white toner and it's bad. Well, we're going to ship you a white toner that fixes the issue. Boom, you're back in printing. We're all happy. All of a sudden, that doesn't fix the issue, and you're like, man, I'm stuck. We're either going to deploy someone on site if we can get there within 48 hours, 2 business days. 9 out of 10 times we can't. What we'll do is we'll send you a brand new machine. When you get that machine, we'll have you send back yours. We don't want any downtime. You know, that's the goal here is if you're printing, we're going to come save the day and make sure you're up and printing. So we're either coming on site to fix it, and this is hardware issues, or we're sending you a replacement printer. When you receive it, then we'll have you send your printer back. We'll handle it in-house. So it is honestly second to none as far as manufacturers go. The warranty that Crio provides is hands down second to none. And I don't know if you know the DTF Station's warranty by chance? Lexi?
Let me see if it's on.
we can research it and come back if you want.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, sweet. Oh yeah, so there we go. We got our 2 t-shirts right here. And then let's do a stretch test. So we're gonna do it live. You do yours, I'll do mine.
Okay. Put it on?
Yeah, right. Yeah, yours is teeny. So, so, I mean, they both warp a little bit, but neither one is cracked. So that is proof's in the pudding right there. You can't really fake that.
Cracking also is how you look after the garment when you wash it and dry it and all that. So when you go to Nike or one of those guys and you buy a shirt and it cracks after like 5 washes, what do? You don't really question it, or you don't go there and say, hey, I want this shirt, and then you stretch it with your brother or your mother or whatever. So it's just like, it's this thing in the market where people want to stretch things. It's like you're doing a custom garment. You're going to charge a price. You're giving the customer something they want. It's like magic. It's done within a day.
Yeah, I highly, highly, highly recommend any piece of technology that your customers don't wake up and stretch the shirt and then put it on. I just think that goes for screen print, direct to garment, vinyl, anything. That's my personal recommendation. If you have those customers, send them directly to Pat.
I'm away that week.
What I have down here, we kind of hit it. So we went over daily maintenance. We'll revisit that. The Crio, I'll just show you. Here's my maintenance. Turn the printer off because I'm not using it. So that's good until I just need to use it again. And then I'll just turn it on and then I'll load my image and hit print. And then maybe go over again, just not only daily, but first print, stuff like that.
Yeah. So in the morning, I would come in, printer. If the printer's off, that light won't be there. But the circulatory pump, if that's the word I can use, that churns that white ink around with that titanium dioxide in, it stops the titanium dioxide from sitting at the bottom and then going and getting stuck in the head. So that is the purpose of that. So in the morning, I'll come in, you turn it on, and then really what I would do is you move the head, and then you'll start cleaning with like one of these swabs. And I will use the cleaning fluid I would put a fresh, clean swab in, and then I would go ahead and I would just wipe around where the head sits. So with the inkjet printer, which these are, you can see that's just from now. That head will sit on a, I guess you want to call it a capping station area, whatever, and the head is protected, and then there's little wiper blades that clean the head before you print. So if there's any ink or whatever, it kind of like flicks over the bottom of the head, and then it starts the suction. Once you start printing, the suction will come through, and then the head sprays fine little dots of ink to create the artwork on the page. So that's kind of, let's call it the Windows for dummies, but the DTF ink for dummies. Then I would go ahead and I would print, which I can do real quick, a head test.
Yep.
I'll cut it out and what that looks like.
And now what the head test is going to do, I believe, is just going to tell you if it's in a line. I don't know if it's alignment or if it's just healthy.
It's showing the white. There's
Yeah.
two white channels, if you want to call it that, or sections in the head that print white. So it's kind of like it's printing a lot of white. So to try and give it more opacity, to be more opaque. And what is the question? Oh, it'll then show you if it's missing, the nozzles are not firing with a line, then you know you need to carry on cleaning or sucking dampers out and that.
Maintenance, Lexi, I don't know if that spurred any additional questions before we move on to the next subject.
Not maintenance, no, but we do have one question waiting.
Let's do it.
It says, the DTF printer you have in there will print up to what size, and the Crio can print up to what size? What is the difference in the price of the two?
Okay. DTF station width is 8.5 by 8.5.
I think it goes to 1320.
So yeah, and then the width or the length of the roll. So with DTF, this machine is limited with width 8.5, but I believe it could print, like if you're doing a bunch of prints or one really long print. I mean, the roll I believe is 109 yards long.
Yeah, I guess you get to nest it all up. That's a good question. We can always research. You get to nest them up. So it's the width where you're limited, and then eventually it's going to say, okay, there's too much on that artboard space.
Yep.
So that's something I never really tested, but it's a good question.
Yep.
I don't see you having a shirt with a print
You never know.
that long.
Right.
But it's a great question.
And then the Crio max size on the 8432 is 11.7 by 19. So it is it's sheets instead of rolls. But you can do a little more than double the width. And then the longest sheet of transfer paper we have is 19 inches long. So 11.7 by 19. Was that all it was? Or is it, price?
Yeah, price.
So I might as well just get into it now. So the Crio 8432 is $7,995, but starting tomorrow, the
Today,
MSR
we already dropped it.
Love it. $67.95. You're getting $1,200 off the Crio 8432. I can tell you this is just going to last until our inventory kind of gets evened out. So if you are interested, I'm not selling you anything, but I promise you this would be the time to buy. It's never going to be this low again. The DTF printer, we looked before this, Lex, you guys are running a pretty cool special. I think it's normally like $4,000. Maybe it's $3,500 right now.
I thought it was 38.
Yes. It's down 10. You save 10%. So it went from $38.99 to $34.99.
Yep. So I mean, like I said, you're $1,200 off right now is coming right out of Pat's paycheck.
Yeah, I don't know if we can zoom in. So this is really and he needs it. This is really your test. The white section here, you kind of will see it's not firing out all the white. That's pretty much your test in the morning that you would perform. Or like if it's been standing for half the day, come back, I would do that test first. If you really want to blast out the white, then you print something solid white.
Yep.
That generally can work too. So yeah, that's my morning maintenance. Come in, clean it out, perform the clean and this test, and then I start printing.
So what we found before we get into the next one, so I spoke about with the film that's on the Crio or white toner printer, you could press it as low as 200 degrees. Now with the DTF film, most films, I think we tried like as low as 270.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I want to show you here, this is 100% polyester red shirt. And I want to show you the benefits of being able to press at the lower temp. I can't see the camera. I don't know if it's giving you the justice, but the top one was the DTF. You could see a little bit of that red coming through, a little dye migration. And the bottom was the Crio. You could see that it's very opaque still. You know, when you're going on something with polyester and especially red, the furthest away you can get from that sublimation temperature of 400 degrees, the more true it's going to stay to the color that you want it to be. So if you don't want any pink in that design, with the Crio, you have the option to bump it down. With the DTF, I don't believe you can go under a certain threshold.
So I went here at like 270, and they were both short. They were 15 seconds.
Oh, they both were pressed at
They were
270.
both pressed
Okay.
fairly at the same.
Gotcha.
And you know, it's something that we noticed today. We did a training in the live Crio training you were speaking about, and it was about color changing with certain garments. And then I was like, hey, this could be a cool test. And then we simulated the test with the same settings.
Yep.
Now, I wouldn't want to put that on a shirt because it's like, it's a solid.
Both of them are very heavy.
Yeah, but it just shows what the differences are. And I think there's a better white with the Forever Dark paper once you put the glue on the back. That was my thinking.
Please just start shooting off questions if they come in. My next thing I was going to talk about is like, what else can you do with these? And I know we kind of talked about it here. With DTF, I know I've done some personal testing with the transfers. Like it went on wood pretty easily. With the Crio, you know, you can go on a mug and it does not have to be coated like polyester coated, like sublimation. So you can go to the dollar store. This was actually done with one of the Crios. But you are not with this system right here. Can it fit in a heat press, mug press, hat press, flat press? If it can't, we have water slide decal paper. We have sticker paper that can decorate those. It's a very versatile machine. Like I said, I'm sure there's a lot more testing done with DTF, and maybe Lexi, if you guys have done some internal testing on what it can stick to, I think you guys have like a weekly thing you guys do that says, will it press? I don't know if you've done that with DTF or not.
Well, yeah, we kind of stopped doing will it press, but we have done DTF on frosted glass. It stuck, but it didn't thrive on the wash test.
Okay.
And then we've done DTF on wood. We just did a YouTube video about that, I think maybe a month ago or so.
Sweet.
But that's kind of the furthest we've gone with it. Oh, that's not true. I tried DTF on a baseball. We had a customer reach out to us and they're like, oh, I want like custom baseballs for my son's graduation. Do you think we can do DTF? And I was like, I can try. So we got their logo and we tried to press it on a baseball. And I mean, it stuck. It just, you could see the adhesive kind of
Was it lifting?
come out of it, you know, off to the side a little bit. But yeah, that's all I've tested so far is just a random baseball.
I think.
Tattoos? Did you mention tattoos?
Yeah. So what I wanted to show you, well, I'm almost positive it's not positive, but one of my favorite papers with the Crio is the tattoo paper. And this is for anyone, obviously, that has children, but is into that or has that market where it could be children or sporting events, or I could promise you bachelorette parties,
Oh, yeah.
crush it with these temporary tattoos. You just print the groom on a bunch of tattoos. So our customers right now, their cost for this A4 sheet of tattoo paper is roughly $3 with paper, with toner, and they're selling a gang sheet of this for $25 to $30 online of custom tattoos. And this is something you don't even need a heat press to do. It's super cool, and I'm almost done trimming. So it's just like the old school stuff. It's got a film, just like the Cracker Jacks box or the old 25-cent tattoos. And then from that film, you stick it to wherever you want to go to. And then all you need is some water. So if you just get this a little bit wet. This is gonna be sweet because my girlfriend's gonna think I just went and got tatted at lunch today. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, we could do that.
So once you get it,
Oh, look at that.
and now you can do custom tattoos. One of my favorite papers. You know, we sell a lot into schools with the Crio because there is no maintenance. Custom stickers. You know, we did a thing with a bridesmaid. You know, be able to customize labels. You know, the bride's wine. Little things like this, being able to personalize something is huge. Like I said, this was just our sticker media. So very, very versatile machine.
So what I noticed in the RIP software with the Crio is talking about the sticker. If you have a silhouette or a cameo or a cricket or whatever, you can then design that cut file. So if you wanted to take, let's say you're going to put that on the sticker paper and you're going to have like 12 of them on there, but you want to cut it out with a circle. Design that in that software.
Yep.
Save the PDF. You bring that PDF into the RIP software and you print the actual artwork on sticker paper. Then it prints it with a registration or crop marks.
Yep.
You take it back to the silhouette cutter, whatever, put it in there, and it cuts out the exact shape you want it. So that is something overlooked,
Yes.
highly profitable area that you can use with a Crio.
Especially stickers on Etsy. They're selling like hotcakes. Before we get into the wash test kind of conclusion, Lexi, do we have anything else? Is anyone jealous of my tattoo or?
We don't have anything in the Q&A chat or the chat right now. So I think we can go ahead and continue with the wash test.
No, is this it right here?
Are there two
Nope.
on there?
That was when I stretched.
Oh, did you break it?
Where did it go?
There's one.
No, it might have fallen off. There was two shirts
it is.
here. Oh, there it is. So I've been washing these. I do laundry about 2 to 3 times a week since the end of February. So these are into their 30s by now. The shirt that I'm holding is a tri-blend. It's cotton, polyester, and spandex. And this one is 100% cotton. The one thing that I hear about white toner, and I've hearing this from a lot of people selling DTF at trade shows, is don't buy white toner. It doesn't wash. Don't buy, it's cheap. And I just don't experience those results. So as you can see here, neither one have cracked. I noticed here on the one that's a tri-blend that it looks like the ink of the DTF is washing out a little bit, kind of how DTGs wash. But they hold up, and it's, truly a true testament of how, not only how good the technology is, but the paper companies are coming around, and the film is getting better, and the paper is getting better. So the reason why I've been washing this for a while is because when I scheduled this with Lexi 3-4 months ago, I did want a true. Now you'd have to take my word that they were decorated same time, but yeah, proof is in the pudding as far as washing goes.
A video of us doing the decorating.
Yeah, that's right.
As proof, because Lexi's going to ask us.
Yeah. As far as that goes, I think, let me double check. I think the wash test was kind of how I was ending it.
I think you're right. Yeah, because you went over the other substrates and everything like that. We have Darnell commented, now for the price to get better. We did drop the DTF A4 printer bundle 10%. And then we did just drop the Crio itself, and then the Crio bundle that we offer as well. We just dropped those 15%. And I believe Mark was trying to get create another Crio bundle while this whole thing was going on.
Thanks, Mark.
Of course, because it sounds like Mark, right? But the other option that we do have for you guys is we have several financing options as well. So we've got Affirm, Klarna, QuickSpark. Those are kind of the big three. And then we've got warranties available to 1 year, 3 year, 1 year, 2 year, and 3 year warranties as well. Yeah, and then we've got all of the consumables as well. So if you attend or watch this webinar, and then you purchase a printer afterwards, you will get $100 for consumables as well. So ink,
Nice.
paper, tattoo paper, sticker paper, everything like that RJ and Patrick kind of went over today. And if you have even more questions about the equipment, we do have our equipment consultation form as well. So you fill that out, and then that would kick over to our sales guy, Mark, and he can kind of give you more information regarding the pieces of equipment as well, or any other general questions that you have. You can reach out to our customer service team, and we can kind of help guide you guys along the journey as you either start a new hobby, expand your business, or anything like that.
Yeah, no, it's great. And kind of to sum up everything is like, look, the proof is in the pudding. You know, we couldn't really fake anything here today. You have two systems, one inkjet, one toner base, one has maintenance, one doesn't. You know, one was a little bit faster than the other, but they're both high quality products. Obviously, one is a little bit more economic friendly. So if if the budget's right around $4,000, you have one option. You know, if you could justify an extra couple $1,000s, you might be able to look at both. But I think it's safe to say they're both viable options, especially if you're a side hustle customer, especially if you're a low run, or maybe you're a screen printer and you need that low run solution to add to your business. Obviously, you see the wash tests, they both hold up. They both have support behind them. So truly the whole meaning behind this was to just showcase two technologies. I get asked all the time, is this DTF? What's the differences of DTF and White Toner? So hopefully you saw them today. We just did garments. Obviously, we could have been doing a whole thing on shooting mugs and all this other cool stuff. But yeah, I appreciate everyone for hopping on. And if you do have questions for Crio, we always answer live chats online. That's createwithcrio.com. You'll see in the bottom right-hand corner, it says, shoot us a chat. If you do want to talk to us directly, you can email us at info@mycrio.com. Or if you're a Crio customer out there that's watching and you do want some support, if you're like, wow, that was really cool, email us at support@mycrio.com and we'll get back to you. So I appreciate everything, and I'll let you say whatever you need to say.
Call RJ 1-800-RJ.
Nope, that doesn't work.
No, I'm all good. I appreciate educating the guys, and I hope you take in what we're showcasing, because there's two opportunities or two options, and to me, a lot of it is about what your affordability is right now and where you want to position your business. So, yeah, and good luck.
Yep.
We appreciate it.
Cool.
All right, we got a couple more that just came in.
Nice.
Darnell said, what if the Crio is taken out of the country with me? Would support still be available online?
Yeah. So as long as you're in North America, you get on-site service. It's a parts only warranty down in Mexico. But I would say, look, I think it was Darnell, if you want to think about this, get in touch with Lexi. You can call us. We can answer those questions. But regardless, you could take this and go to South Africa with it. You will have all of our support on my Crio no matter what. It's just depending on where you're taking it. If we can get consumables to you, you just need a 110 volt. All of ours is North America, so it's a 110 volt power.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as long as the power works.
Yeah.
I personally would not use a converter.
No.
Because power is important with all print systems. So
yeah,
that's something to consider.
Yep.
Okay, and then we've got another one. Does the toner come with the Crio, or does it need to be purchased separately?
It's a great question. Comes with it. So it is a starter set, but with that starter set, you're going to get roughly 1,000 to 2,000 prints right off the bat. So, like we were stating earlier, you have enough toner to recoup all your funds that you put into buying the machine before you're going to need to buy more toner. You can always bundle in an extra set if you want to, but it comes with the set of consumables for you.
Can I jump in here real quick? I remember something that we forgot to add is on the Crio RIP software, you can actually put in the cost of your toners. And once you've printed that job or image, it'll tell you $1.05 or whatever. So the printer's really smart. It works out the percentages of colors on the page. And then with you putting that in, the values of the toners and the drums and that, you can have an exact job cost. So in a business, for people that track that, they're like, oh, I'm going to do 100 shirts. It's going to cost me $40. I sold them for 400. I made
Yep.
good profit.
Yeah.
So
And like, let's just, your local high school is yellow and you print a lot of yellow. Well, you don't have to buy a full set of toner, just buy the yellow.
Yes.
And then you'll just, it's plug and play. You just take it out and put it back in. So,
and it gives you a warning. So it'll say 10% remaining.
right.
So it gives you a couple of days to order from your reseller.
Yep.
All right. I don't see anything coming through. Just one last one. Darnell said, Lexi, this was awesome. So thank you.
Thank you.
So now,
Appreciate you tuning in.
With that being said, if you guys have any questions, you can fill out the equipment consultation form. If you have questions about financing, please reach out to customer service and they will be able to help you as well. And yeah, just that's kind of all I've got. I will be sending out the recording hopefully by the end of this week. I'm gonna try and edit out the beginning part where we were trying to figure out
That was on
how to
us. It's our
use
fault.
technology.
sorry about
Hey, that's okay. But yes, thank you, RJ and Patrick, for doing this with me. You guys were our first webinar. So this was very exciting. I appreciate it. And to everybody watching, thank you as well and we will be in touch soon. Woohoo!
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, Lexi.